In our super connected world, there's this invisible profession that's absolutely vital to global healthcare: medical translation. We're talking about the people who make sure a diagnosis in one language means the exact same thing in another. So let's pull back the curtain and dive into their hidden, high-stakes world.
Seriously, just think about that for a second. A patient's chart, the instructions on a medicine bottle, the details of a surgical procedure, everything relies on perfect, crystal clear communication. So what happens when a single word gets twisted? Well, the answer is pretty sobering. This isn't just an academic exercise about language. We're talking about patient safety, where the stakes literally could not be higher.
To really get a feel for how crucial this job is, you first have to understand the mountain of obstacles these translators are up against. We're calling them the 7 deadly challenges. And believe me, they have to navigate every single one of them on every single project. Okay, let's break down this gauntlet they have to run. First off, you've got the insane technical complexity of medical jargon. Then there are the cultural nuances. I mean, how do you explain a medical concept to someone from a culture where that concept doesn't even exist? On top of that, you've got basic language barriers, the nightmare of managing huge amounts of complex data. And, oh yeah, it's almost always a rush job. It's incredibly time-sensitive. And if that wasn't enough, they have to somehow collaborate with experts who speak different languages and navigate this tangled web of regulatory compliance. It is just relentless. So, faced with that absolute minefield, how do the pros even manage to get it right? Well, it's not just about being fluent. They have a playbook, a set of strategies that turns chaos into control and ensures accuracy. And honestly, it can save lives. This really shows you the kind of discipline we're talking about. It all starts with a commitment to continuous learning, because medicine is always changing. Then they use these amazing collaboration tools to work directly with doctors and specialists. They rely on super detailed checklists to verify every little thing. This is all built on a foundation of specialized training, not just in language, but in medicine itself. And finally, they leverage technology, things like shared databases and software that ensures consistency. This isn't just a job, it's a true craft. All right, let's make this real. Theory is one thing, but seeing it in practice is where it all clicks. We're going to look at a really interesting case study, translating English medical terms into Arabic. Because here, translators face this fundamental choice that has huge, huge implications. So here's the deal. When an Arabic translator sees an English medical term, they've got 2 main roads they can go down. The first is translation, finding the pure, correct Arabic word for it. The second path is something called transliteration. This is where you basically just spell out the English word using Arabic letters, maybe because there isn't a good direct equivalent or it's just not what doctors use. And you can see how this works right here. The word diarrhea has a really common, well-known Arabic equivalent. That's a nice, clean translation. But for a word like bacteria, it's actually more common to just transliterate it, so it becomes bacteria. You can even hear how similar it sounds, right? This is where the translator's expertise is just so critical. Which choice is going to be clearer for the patient and the doctor? Now, this choice isn't simple, and it's actually pretty controversial. As the scholar Ghazala argued way back in 1995, some people see transliteration as the poorest and worst method. They feel like it lets foreign words invade the Arabic language and that it should be avoided at all costs. This really shines a light on a deep professional debate. What's the main goal here? Is it to keep the language pure, or is it to have immediate, practical clarity for medical staff who might be trained in English? So, we've seen the challenges, the strategies, and even the intense debates that happen behind the scenes. Let's bring it all home. Why does any of this matter to you? Well, because the medicine you take, the device a loved one might use, they've all passed through the hands of these invisible guardians. What it all boils down to is this. Medical translators aren't just swapping out words. They are building understanding. They're the absolutely essential unseen link in the chain of care, working tirelessly so that language becomes a bridge to healing, not a barrier. So I'll leave you with this. The next time you look at the label on a prescription bottle or read the instructions for a medical device, just take a second to think. How many languages did that information travel through to get to you? And how many invisible, dedicated professionals worked in the shadows to make sure every single word was right, just to keep you safe?